keeping Russell Wilson in the pocket. Wilson was very ineffective in that game.
Yeah. He's also a much better quarterback now than he was in his third game as a pro, though.
That's right.
That was early in his career.
But there is your template, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Keep him in the pocket and run the ball.
Let me ask you though, Vic, and that's a very interesting point because I've thought a lot about that. I think the Packers have proven that they can run the ball on any defense, all right? And I know Seattle's #1 against the run, but the Packers have run the ball down the throat of Detroit, Buffalo. They've run the football on anybody they need to run it on. But if you do too much running of the football, does it take you out of what you do best, and that is throw the football? Is there a balance you have to strike there, even in a game like this? I'm with you. I think you can muscle these guys up front.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is your star, and you don't ever want him to not be your star. But you know, if he's got to play on one leg, it wouldn't be a bad idea for somebody else to carry a little more of the load. The first drive against Dallas, Eddie Lacy just gashed him. And then he had that little bit of an asthma attack thing going, and what if that hadn't happened? What if he was in the game on the second series? And what if they had gashed him again? Well, how does Dallas have to react to that, and what would that have meant to Aaron Rodgers? So, hey, let's not, I know I talked about the magic wand, and the team of destiny and all of that kind of stuff, but let's not forget, this is a guy on one leg who's going to be playing against the roughest, toughest defense in the league. So if somebody else wants to carry the load, that wouldn't be a bad idea. And I think Eddie Lacy is the guy. I think this is the most underrated. Wayne made a great point in a press conference today. Russell Wilson has rushed for 849 yards this year.
Right.
Which is what makes them the #1 running team in the league. If you take his 849 yards away, which you would normally do for a normal quarterback, they don't rank as high as the Packers running game.
No, they don't. And I think Eddie Lacy here, he's our version of beast mode. And I see him running as hard as Marshawn Lynch. I really do. And he'll have to in this ball game. But Mike Spofford, I don't know what you think, and Vic, I want to ask you this too. Various defenses do things well. The Packers have gone up against big defenses. They've gone up against athletic defenses. This defense, to me, a lot of speed in that front, a lot of athleticism. Not a tremendous amount of size, but speed and athleticism. And on that side of the football, that speed and athleticism can kill.
Yeah, well, certainly they are fast, they are tough, and when you look at the way those two safeties play, Chancellor and Thomas, those guys cover a lot of ground, they hit hard, they fill against the run when they need
those
to,
guys
they fill fast.
Passes like all-pro quarterbacks. Yeah. Those two safeties are so impressive to me.
Yeah, the Seahawks defense is fantastic. Now, here's something that I've considered. Everybody is talking about the Seahawks dialing up a lot of blitzes and coming after Aaron Rodgers because his mobility has been compromised. But that's not their identity. That's not who the Seahawks, who and what the Seahawks are. This is not a blitz-heavy team. The Seahawks are one of those rush 4 and drop 7 teams. So if they take the bait and they start bringing 7 and dropping 4, they're out of their personality. And I think that's something we should watch for this Sunday. Do they take the bait and come after Rodgers with more than they would normally come after him with?
That's going to be an interesting key to this game, no question about it. When I look at this Seahawks defense, I think it's excellent. It's an excellent defense, but Vic, what kind of defense are we looking at here? You covered the Steel Curtain in the 70s in Pittsburgh. I covered the '85 Bears. We all remember the Baltimore defense of 2000, 2001. What kind of a great defense was that? Where does this Seahawks defense stack up, or does it yet?
Well, it's so tough to rank defenses nowadays because to put them in the historical category with the Bears, '85 Bears, the '76 Steelers, the 2000 Ravens, you just can't do that because those teams didn't play. They weren't crippled by the rules as today's defenses are. The Seahawks don't have a defensive line to compare to the Steel Curtain. Or the Bears with Refrigerator and Dan Hampton and,
Right.
and Richard Dent, those guys. No. But this secondary might be the best secondary I've ever seen.
I agree.
I mean, they don't get any better than this. So Packers wide receivers are going to be challenged on Sunday, and they have got to respond.
And you know where the matchup is, though? The starters in the secondary are great, but the guy that I would look for, and the guy maybe you want to look for, would be Davante Adams once again. Why? Because he's probably going to have Harold Simon, number 27, on him, and that's the weak link, if there is one, in this defense.
It could be. I don't know if it's going to be Adams. I think it might be whoever Harold Simon is guarding might be the first place Aaron Rodgers looks. But I'll say this too. We've talked a lot about Seattle's defense. This Green Bay Packers offensive line, not only is it the best offensive line Mike McCarthy's had, he said that from the beginning of the season, and it's proven to be true. This is the best offensive line the Packers could have going into a matchup like this against this type of defense. The Packers are as equipped, other than Rodgers on his one leg, the Packers are as equipped offensively to move the ball and score against a defense like this because of that offensive line, and they've had that starting five together ever since Bulaga came back from the knee injury in week 3. This group has been together the whole way.
And remember the second half of that opener, Bulaga went down. Second half or was it second?
It was the
quarter?
first half.
Second quarter, yeah.
Quarter he went down. And this line, I would say for the first month of the season, wasn't anything close to what we thought it would be. It is today, and Vic, I think it's one of the top 5 offensive lines in the game.
Hey, Mike McCarthy 2 years ago said the running game would be improved. It was. Mike McCarthy this year said the defense would be improved. It is. He also said this is the best offensive line he's had in Green Bay. It is by far. I mean, maybe we should just listen to the coach, because he has accurately predicted in every case improvement at a place where they have concentrated some effort. There is nothing about this team that should lead us to believe that it cannot win the Super Bowl. It is loaded. It has the quarterback, it has the running back, it has big-time wide receivers, and it has the playmakers in its defense to play in space with Russell Wilson.
It'll be interesting to see. It really will. Guys, what do you have coming up this weekend? Do you have some special stuff for the internet?
Well, Mike and I conclude our Countdown to Seattle series tomorrow. We have been running it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so there's 4 installments on Packers.com. I hope you go there. I hope you read the material. We've been working our buns off all week long, and I can't wait to work my buns off all day Sunday.
All right. Vic Patrick, Mike Spofford, Packers.com. Make sure you see them there. Thank you very much, guys. Well, you don't think that's the end of the show now, do you? No, there's a lot more. There's so many different layers of Packers championship tradition. There really is, and it's a wonderful part of the whole thing. I mean, Saturday night we had 6 members of the Ice Bowl with us out here on the steps of Lambeau Field. It was wonderful. Well, we've got a couple of key players who are part of the greatest revival in the history of the NFL. As many of you lived through as I did, the Packers after 1967 weren't so good for about 25 years. Now, they got good in the early 90s, didn't they? And it was Brett Favre, and it was Reggie White. And it was a couple of guys that are with us tonight. I want to introduce to you one of the all-time great receivers in Packers history, an All-Pro in 1998. He played for the Packers, 3rd-round draft choice in 95, took over this league, Antonio Freeman.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It's great to be back.
Well, I tell you, you had some great years in the late 90s with this ball club. But I imagine you got good because you went up against some good people in practice every day. And I don't know if this guy kept you in check or not, but he did in his career pick off 25 interceptions. Your old teammate, quarterback Doug Evans. It's good to be here. Good to be here. While you guys play, I will always consider your team really special because, there was a point in time where there was a strong belief around the league that Green Bay would never be able to win again. They would never be able to go back to the mountaintop. Bob Harlan talked about that extensively in his book, that there was a great belief that it just wasn't going to happen. But you guys helped to make it happen with your great team, Super Bowl 31. Talk a little bit about that for you. What does that mean to you? Do you understand the impact of bringing back a franchise like the Green Bay Packers? You guys started this 20-year run.
Well, you just talked about it. I mean, it starts at the top. Bob Harlan, Ron Wolf, Coach Holmgren, the assistant coaches, the medical staff, the training staff in there. I mean, and you talked about it, practicing against a guy like Doug and Tyrone Williams during that era. After practicing with these guys all week, I was ready for anything that anybody could throw at me. So that was one of the advantages. We had a lot of talent on that football team, and we really challenged each other in practice and tried to make each other better. And it worked out with the world championship.
That certainly did. A world championship, and then Doug, you guys went back to the championship again. That's not easy to do, is it?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. But even before that, though, you talked about the early 90s. I got here in 93, and when I came in, it was the same year Reggie White got here in defensive coach. And coming in, those group of guys, you knew something was going to be different that year. Even the attitude of winning, winning at that level, and going against guys like Sterling Sharp in practice. He's a hell of a football player, So those type of things actually was great. But going back next year and trying to win another Super Bowl, I mean, it's harder because everyone knows you at the top. And when you're at the top, everyone is gunning for you. And they know exactly where you're at. They know exactly what type of team that you're going to be and what you're capable of doing.
And so, really, guys, you've got to be better to get back there the next year, don't you? You have to be better as an individual and certainly as a team, right?
Yeah, you definitely have to be better as a team. And you look at the Packers when they won in 2010, they ran off a 15-1 record the next year, and everyone thought they were headed back to the Super Bowl as well. And you just realize how hard it is and how much parity it is around the league with free agencies and underclassmen coming out in the draft. And you realize how hard it is and that what we did was special. We would have liked to have won that second world championship, but just to get back there had to be super special because there's a lot of talent in this football league, and it's spread throughout the NFL, and it's about what's in that locker room. I talked about Bob Harlan, Ron Wolf, Coach Holmgren, Brett Favre, Reggie White, but it's about those men in the locker room. And this team today of the Green Bay Packers, they have those same components. They love playing together, and they love coming to work each and every day.
Let me ask you something. I'm not going to say he had the impact of a Reggie White, but Julius Peppers coming onto that football team. How about this? Yeah. The thing about Julius Peppers, when they signed him in free agency, the guys on the football team, people like Jamal Williams said, we did what? They couldn't believe the Packers got Julius Peppers. They were so excited inside the locker room, the players on that team were so excited to get a talent like Julius Peppers that he was an instant impact on that locker room. And I would imagine that's the same kind of impact Reggie White had on your team.
Oh, yeah, definitely so. Definitely so. The Packers always had a great defense. And to get that one key guy that can change everything, to make everything look a whole lot easier on defense, make things run a little bit easier on defense, make that secondary, play a little bit easier and harder on defense. I mean, it's a game changer, and that's that one key element that we was missing, and they got it.
I look at Reggie White and Julius Peppers in the same senses. They both came with their hunger. They both had achieved great accolades. They both had made a ton of money, but they were both missing that world title. And that's what they came here, and that's what we fed off. And I think those young guys in that locker room, those defensive ends, those defensive linemen, they rally around Julius Peppers and his hunger to bring the world title home.
You know, one of the factors besides God telling Reggie to play in Green Bay, and why wouldn't he? God's a Packers fan, right? But God and about $18 million got Reggie White into Green Bay. But Reggie mentioned that the reason he came here was the quarterback who was here. Now, you're an offensive guy, Antonio. You're a defensive guy, Doug. When you have a quarterback like you guys have, Brett Favre, everybody, when you go into a game with Brett Favre quarterback, don't you all feel you're going to win that day?
Well, you know, with Brett Favre, you know that you're always going to have a chance to win that ball game. It doesn't matter what situation. And that's what we always liked about Brett, you know. He was that type player that, hey, when it came time to take those chances, to do things that you have to do, even when you know it might not be the right situation at the right time, he's going to make an opportunity to try to make it happen, though.
Oh, there's no question about it. It makes a huge difference, I would think. And Free, you and I have had this discussion, but it's interesting with a receiver, you better be careful where you go because you rely on a good quarterback throwing you the football. And the better the quarterback, the bigger your numbers. And you had some huge numbers in 1997 and 98.
Yes, it was just a great rapport that Brett and I were able to develop. Hard work in practice, hard work after practice, and just accountability. Just me knowing where he expected me to be, and I better be where he expected me to be, or he might not throw my blade again. And I see that same accountability with today's team. I see Aaron Rodgers. I saw Devontae Adams with his struggles throughout the year, but in the biggest moment for the Packers, he shined through, much like Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb had been doing most of the year.
Free, let me ask you about the performance by Devontae Adams, because I thought, and again, I went back and watched the TV tape. Sometimes when we're at the game, especially me when I'm calling the game, you miss little things. You miss overall view of the situation because you're so focused on the play itself. But I thought he really played for the first. Well, and he played well against New England, but I thought against the Dallas Cowboys, at times he looked dominant out there. He reminded me a lot of you.
You know, I think about his impact as a